The Silent Deception. Admiral Elena Santos stood at the observation deck of Lunar Base Alpha, her dark eyes fixed on the gleaming spacecraft in the construction bay below. The TSS Thunderchild represented humanity's greatest achievement and its greatest secret, while the rest of the galaxy saw Earth as a fledgling civilization struggling with basic antimatter containment. The reality couldn't have been more different. "Status report on the quantum shielding tests," she asked, her voice carrying the weight of 2 decades of preparation. "Complete success, Admiral," responded Dr. James Chen, his holographic avatar materializing beside her. "The shield absorbed a force equivalent to 3 neutron stars without a flicker. The Drachnid Empire won't know what hit them when they make their move." Elena nodded slowly, remembering the day Earth's deep space sensors first detected the Drachnid fleet, systematically conquering peaceful worlds on the galaxy's outer rim. The alien empire's method was always the same: arrive with overwhelming force, demand submission, and obliterate any civilization that refused. They were working their way toward Earth, but they had no idea what awaited them. "How's the facade holding up?" Elena asked, turning to face the hologram of humanity's chief scientist. "Our primitive ships are still convincing everyone," James replied with a slight smirk. "The Galactic Council's annual technology assessment still ranks us as a Type 1.3 civilization. They think we're barely managing controlled fusion reactions, while we're actually harvesting zero-point energy from quantum vacuum fluctuations." The deception had begun nearly 50 years ago, when humanity first detected alien signals and realized they weren't alone. Instead of announcing their presence, Earth's leaders made an unprecedented decision: to hide their true capabilities and prepare for the worst while presenting an image of technological inferiority. The observation deck's quantum glass darkened automatically as a test firing sequence began in the bay below. The Thunderchild's outer hull remained deliberately crude-looking, masking the metamaterials that made it nearly omnipotent by known galactic standards. While other civilizations built bigger ships to demonstrate their power, humanity had focused on efficiency and innovation. "The Drachnids just conquered the Centauri Collective," James reported, his expression grim. "Their fleet will reach the Sol system's observation range within 6 months. Elena's fingers traced the Admiral's stars on her collar. "How many civilian worlds have they destroyed so far?" 17. The Galactic Council is still debating their response. "They'll debate until the Drachnids are knocking at their door," Elena said, her voice hard with conviction. "We've watched long enough. Implementation of Protocol Omega begins today." James's hologram flickered with surprise. "Admiral, are you sure? Once we reveal ourselves." "Those 17 worlds died because we waited, gathering intelligence and perfecting our technology. I won't let Earth be remembered as the civilization that could have stopped this but chose to hide instead." The Admiral turned back to the window, watching as maintenance drones swarmed around the Thunderchild like busy insects. The ship's seemingly primitive exterior held within it technological marvels that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of physics itself. Quantum processors that could simulate entire universe models in seconds, weapons that could redirect the fundamental forces of nature, defensive systems that bent probability itself. "Send the order to all Earth Defense Fleet installations," Elena commanded. "The Thunderchild launches in 72 hours. It's time to remind the galaxy why humanity's myths always warned about poking sleeping giants." Throughout the solar system, hidden shipyards began powering up. Beneath the surfaces of Mars, Europa, and Titan, vast factories that had been manufacturing in secret for decades initiated their final production sequences. Quantum communication networks carried Elena's orders to Earth's scattered military assets, all disguised as research outposts or mining operations. The greatest deception in galactic history was about to end, and the true face of humanity would emerge not as conquerors, but as defenders of those who couldn't protect themselves. The Drachnids, like so many bullies throughout human history, were about to learn a painful lesson about underestimating their prey. As Elena watched the final preparations, she thought about all the civilizations that had dismissed humanity as primitive upstarts. The Arcturians, who had patronizingly offered to guide Earth's development while secretly plotting to exploit its resources. The Rigelian technocracy, who had attempted to steal human DNA, believing it held the secret to Earth's unusually rapid development. None of them had guessed that humanity had already surpassed them centuries ago. Dr. Chen, Elena said, initiate the Thunderchild's quantum core sequencing and send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them. She paused, allowing herself a small smile. Tell them that humanity respectfully requests an emergency session to discuss the Drachnid situation. It's time they learned why Earth's ancient myths always painted humans as the most dangerous species in existence. Breaking the masquerade. The Galactic Council chamber hung like a jeweled pendant in high orbit above Centaurus Prime, its crystalline structures refracting starlight in patterns that had awed visitors for millennia. Today, however, the chamber's beauty was overshadowed by the tension filling its vast halls. Ambassador Michael Jonk stood before the assembled representatives of over 300 spacefaring civilizations, his simple Earth uniform a stark contrast to their ornate regalia. For decades, human diplomats had played the role of humble newcomers in this chamber. Today, that charade would end. Honorable representatives, Michael began, his voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Earth has monitored the Drachnid expansion with growing concern. We can no longer stand idle while innocent worlds burn. High Chancellor Vexthor of the Arcturus Dominion rose from his crystalline throne, his bioluminescent patterns flashing with barely concealed disdain. While we appreciate Earth's enthusiasm, what exactly does a pre-singularity civilization propose to do against the most powerful military force in known space? Michael allowed himself a small smile. Right on cue, quantum sensors throughout the chamber began detecting an impossible energy signature. The Council's security systems went into overdrive as space itself seemed to fold, and the TSS Thunderchild materialized directly above the Council chamber. The chamber erupted in chaos. The ship's appearance had bypassed not only the Council's defensive screens, but the fundamental laws of physics as they understood them. No known technology could penetrate the quantum barrier surrounding the Council chamber, yet there it was, a human vessel that had done the impossible. What is the meaning of this? Vexthor demanded, his luminescence now pulsing with alarm. Michael's reply was calm but carried an edge of steel. For 50 years, humanity has hidden its true capabilities while preparing for this moment. The vessel above us, the Thunderchild, represents merely a fraction of Earth's actual technological level. The chamber's holographic displays activated, showing real-time footage of similar ships emerging from hidden bases throughout human space. Each vessel demonstrated capabilities that the Council's best scientists had deemed impossible: controlled manipulation of quantum fields, artificial gravity wells that could redirect entire fleets, weapons that could selectively disable technology without harming organic life. Impossible, whispered the Rigelian science director, their compound eyes wide with disbelief. These energy readings, they exceed Class X civilization benchmarks. Michael nodded gravely. Humanity chose to hide its advancement for a simple reason. We needed to understand the galaxy's political landscape before revealing ourselves. The Drachnid threat has forced our hand. The Council chamber's displays shifted to show footage from the worlds the Drachnids had attacked. While this council debated, Michael continued, 17 civilizations were erased from existence. Earth will not allow this to continue. You deceived us all, Vexthor accused, his upper arms gesturing in agitation. How do we know you're not as much of a threat as the Drachnids? Because we've had the power to conquer the galaxy for decades, yet we chose to wait and watch, Michael replied. Humanity's history is filled with empires that rose through force and fell just as violently. We learned those lessons centuries ago. Our strength exists to protect, not to dominate. As if to emphasize his point, new data streamed across the chamber's displays. Evidence of countless instances where Earth could have seized control of crucial resources, exploited technological vulnerabilities, or simply taken what they wanted. Instead, they had chosen restraint, intervention only when necessary to prevent catastrophic loss of life. The Thunderchild and her sister ships will depart within the hour to engage the Drachnid fleet, Michael announced. We're not asking for permission or assistance. This is simply a courtesy notification to our galactic neighbors. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, but Michael's next words silenced them all. However, Earth extends an offer to any civilization threatened by the Drachnids. Our protection, freely given, in exchange for nothing but the promise to pay that protection forward when you're able. As the Council struggled to process this unprecedented situation, quantum communications were already spreading the news across the galaxy. Humanity had hidden in plain sight, building its strength not for conquest, but for defense. The age of deception was over. The age of protection had begun. The thunder of Terra. The Drachnid battle fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system, their biomechanical ships casting long shadows across the stellar void. Supreme Commander Krastvul stood on his command deck, mandibles clicking in anticipation of another easy conquest. My lord, his sensor officer reported, we're detecting a single vessel approaching. Configuration matches. Earth technology. Krastvul's compound eyes narrowed. The primitive apes dare to challenge us with a single ship. Show me. The tactical display materialized, showing the TSS Thunderchild approaching at speeds that should have been impossible. Before Krastvul could process this impossibility, Admiral Elena Santos' image appeared on his command screen. This is your only warning, she stated flatly. Leave this sector of space and never return, or face the consequences of your actions. Krastvul's translator rendered his clicking laughter into harsh electronic tones. You primitive species are all the same, brave until your worlds burn. 600 ships against your one. What hope do you have? Elena's expression didn't change. We have reality on our side. The Thunderchild's outer hull began to shift, quantum metamaterials revealing their true nature. Layers of what appeared to be simple metal plating transformed into structures that defied conventional physics. The ship's apparent size doubled, then tripled, as spatial compression fields collapsed. All ships, open fire, Krastvul ordered. 600 Drachnid vessels launched their most powerful weapons simultaneously. The space around the Thunderchild rippled. Every energy beam, every projectile, every quantum torpedo simply ceased to exist. They hadn't been blocked or absorbed. The laws of physics in that region of space had been temporarily rewritten to make their existence impossible. Impossible, Krastvul whispered. No, Elena replied. Just sufficiently advanced. The Thunderchild's response came not as weapon fire, but as a fundamental alteration of reality itself. Quantum fields expanded outward, selectively targeting the Drachnid fleet's technology. Ships began powering down, their biomechanical systems simply choosing to stop functioning. Weapons turned to inert matter. Shields became mathematical impossibilities. Within minutes, the mighty Drachnid fleet hung helpless in space, their ships preserved but utterly powerless. Not a single life had been lost. This is humanity's response to bullies, Elena announced across all frequencies. We will not kill when we can disable. We will not destroy when we can neutralize. But make no mistake, we will stop you. As the Thunderchild's quantum field stabilized the disabled Drachnid fleet, more human ships emerged from hidden space. Each vessel represented a different approach to impossibly advanced technology. Some bent light itself, others existed partially in multiple dimensions, and still others seemed to ignore the basic constants of the universe. Ripples across the stars. The news spread across the galaxy at quantum speeds. Humanity, the supposedly primitive species that had barely mastered faster-than-light travel, had neutralized the dreaded Drachnid fleet without destroying a single ship or taking a single life. The revelation sent shockwaves through galactic society. In the weeks that followed, the true scope of human advancement became clear. Archaeological teams discovered that Earth had quantum observation posts in every major system, collecting data and maintaining their elaborate deception. Trading posts revealed themselves to be advanced research stations. Seemingly primitive human colonies turned out to be technological marvels hidden behind carefully crafted illusions. The Galactic Council chambers became a forum for heated debate. Some species called for immediate sanctions against Earth for its deception. Others proposed alliances, hoping to benefit from human technology. A few suggested military action, fearing what humanity might do with its power. Ambassador Michael Jung attended every session, patiently explaining humanity's position. "We hid our capabilities not out of malice, but out of prudence," he told the council. Earth's history taught us that powerful civilizations often face a choice: become protectors or become conquerors. We chose our path long ago. Proof of his words came in humanity's actions. The disabled Drachnid ships were returned to their homeworld, modified only to prevent them from threatening other species again. Earth established a network of quantum defense systems around vulnerable worlds, freely sharing enough technology to allow species to protect themselves while carefully avoiding military applications. Trade routes that had been paralyzed by fear of Drachnid attacks reopened under human protection. Scientific cooperation flourished as Earth slowly began sharing its less advanced discoveries, helping other species develop along their own paths rather than simply giving them technology they weren't ready to handle responsibly. A new dawn. 1 year after the Drachnid incident, the galaxy had transformed. The TSS Thunderchild had become a symbol not of military might, but of protective strength. Earth's example had inspired a new philosophy among spacefaring species, the idea that advanced civilizations had a responsibility to protect rather than exploit their neighbors. Admiral Elena Santos stood once again in the observation deck of Lunar Base Alpha, but this time she wasn't alone. Representatives from 200 species had gathered to witness the unveiling of humanity's next great project, the Galactic Defense Initiative. "The age of hiding is over," Elena announced to the assembled diplomats. "Earth now openly offers what we've secretly provided for decades: protection for those who need it, guidance for those who seek it, and hope for those who have lost it." The observation deck's quantum blast cleared, revealing not weapons of war, but a network of interconnected defense and early warning systems. Quantum shields that could protect entire solar systems, gateway networks that could evacuate threatened populations in minutes, environmental restoration systems that could heal worlds damaged by conflict or natural disaster. Humanity's greatest strength, Elena continued, was never our technology. It was our ability to learn from our mistakes. Our history is filled with empires that rose and fell, wars that scared our world, and moments when we stood on the brink of self-destruction. We survived, we learned, and we grew stronger. Now we offer that strength to all. As if to emphasize her words, the Thunderchild and her sister ships began a synchronized transformation in orbit. Their quantum metamaterials shifted, revealing their true forms, not weapons of war, but shields against the darkness. Their hull markings changed to display a new symbol, a human hand extended in protection, surrounded by stars. The galaxy was entering a new age. Humanity had emerged from its chrysalis of deception, not as a conquering force, but as a guardian of peace. The species that had hidden its strength for so long now stood openly as a protector of the weak, a teacher of the willing, and a warning to those who would prey on others. The sleeping giant had awakened, and its true power lay not in the ability to destroy, but in the choice to protect.